Living room went perfectly, entirely silent. The only sound was the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Adrian's gaze dropped to the folder in my outstretched hand, then slowly moved back up to my face. The slight confusion in his eyes morphed into a dark, incomprehensible storm. He didn't reach out to take the papers. He just stared at me. A divorce agreement, he repeated, the words rolling off his tongue as if they were in a foreign language. Yes, I said, my voice steady, though my fingers gripped the edge of the folder tightly enough to turn my knuckles white. I've already signed it. The terms are simple. I'm not asking for any of the marital assets. The house, the cars, the company shares, they remain yours. I'm only taking my personal savings. I nudged the folder closer to him. If you sign it tonight, we can file the paperwork tomorrow morning. Then you won't have to keep Rosalie in the guest room. Rosalie, who was sitting on the couch behind him, shifted uncomfortably. She opened her mouth to say something, but the sheer, suffocating tension radiating from Adrian kept her silent. Adrian finally reached out, but he didn't take the folder. He grabbed my wrist. His grip was tight, almost painful, dragging me a half step forward. What game are you playing, Natalie? He asked, his voice dropping into a low, dangerous register. Did I forget some anniversary? Is this because Rosalie moved in today? If you're throwing a tantrum, this is a pathetic way to do it. I looked down at his hand wrapped around my wrist, and then back up into his eyes. There is no game, Adrian, I said calmly. And we both know you've never remembered an anniversary for me to be upset about. This isn't a tantrum. It's a conclusion. I gently, but firmly, twisted my arm out of his grasp. 3 years ago, you told me that our marriage was nothing more than a transaction, I continued, the words I had held back for 1,000 days finally spilling into the open space between us. You needed my family's connections to settle your lawsuit. My family needed your capital. I was the bridge. I paused, looking at his rigid posture, his jaw clenched tight. The lawsuit was settled 2 years ago. The capital loans were fully repaid last month. The bridge has served its purpose, I stated, placing the folder directly onto the coffee table. You told me on our wedding night not to expect you to ever love me. I am finally respecting your wishes. Adrian stared at the folder sitting on the glass table as if it were a bomb about to detonate. You're packing, he said suddenly, his eyes darting to the cardboard boxes stacked by the stairs. Yes, I replied. I've already signed a lease on a new apartment. I'm moving out tomorrow. No. The word was sharp, fast, and absolute. I frowned, caught off guard by the immediate rejection. Adrian, this is what you wanted. You've spent 3 years making sure I knew exactly where I stood. You brought Rosalie to every family event. You brought her to my mother's birthday. You moved her into my home today. You've won. You have your freedom, and you have your first love. Why would you say no? Adrian's chest heaved. He opened his mouth, a chaotic mix of emotions warring on his usually stoic face, but before he could form a sentence, Rosalie stood up. Adrian, she said softly, stepping toward him, her hand reaching out to touch his arm. Maybe Natalie is right. If she's unhappy